Good morning, guys. Hopefully you're well. It will just be me this morning, no Maxwell, so we probably won't get too deep into OI or order flow, if at all. Probably just going to do a brief overview here of Bitcoin. Trades we've been kicking around, levels that you need to know about for triggers, for potential, validations and future trades. But also want to look at the DXY and the SPX. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the SPX. We'll even talk a little bit about Tesla. Might as well collect some clout while we are here. But hopefully you're well. Happy Monday. Yeah, really kind of a boring, weekend, and it's been kind of boring price-wise for a little bit now as we've dropped into the lower portion of our range here. When I say that, I mean, zoom out, and you can see we've just kind of been down here, the fairly range-bound. We'll talk about some things that we actually already covered last time we were here and spoke, and then we will even go into a little bit further, how that played out and how you could have traded it, but also, what we'd be looking for going forward. So, yeah, it looks like we've actually got some people here. Okay, so always good, always good. And good morning to Nick, Flash, Tar Heel, Richard, Elato. Yep. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and just jump into it. I want to keep this short. I do need to walk the dog, and then I've got a guy coming in to do spray for bugs for the spring and do the yard. So, and good morning, Goat. So I think there's 7 or 8 of you in here, which much appreciated. Do me a favor, hit the like if you haven't. You guys know the spiel. I don't ask for it much, but these are pretty detailed most of the time. So, yeah, let's talk about, what happened last night. We were looking, I did myself dirty. I had a take profit from my long down here. Entry on that long was 26, like 686, I believe. So good entry. Had already taken profit one, and I was looking for 27,488. I was looking to front run this prior key weekly low here, which is also your new monthly pivot, if you guys recall. And you've got an old session POC up here. So it was really kind of just a big area, and it was a couple $100 away, about 150 bucks above my take profit. So I kind of, made the assumption that I was front running enough, and she just didn't have enough juice, and it is what it is. So, we move on to the next trade. And the question is, do we have a trade available down here? Looking at what you had going on going into this level is you have a very clear breaker, even down on the 1 hour here. So what you'll notice is right around 27,200 and some change, a little under 27,300. You've not closed even an hourly candle above this, kind of really just setting the tone that, okay, this is resistance. We should be keeping an eye on it. And then you realistically could have just drawn, your volume profile from here to here and said, this is my new range. We've come up above the range. We came back tested the breaker and the value area high. And then we were all looking for this area down here for potential longs, which we're in. If you were to zoom in even further on this level, what were the triggers for the long? If you weren't watching order flow strictly, this is something we've been toying with. Your aggregate volume, you can see that as you were coming into this area, it was essentially beginning to huge OI drop, right? So you can see right here, massive drop in open interest. This is a Leviathan, I think is the name of it, the aggregate indicator. I like it quite a bit, actually. Comes down, OI coming off the entire move, letting us know that, well, this is probably a significant high and that we should look for that range rotation. Now, you did have a gold pocket here, but realistically, what I was looking for is basically a tap into the yearly and 60-day pivots down here. Been very, very good support for us for some time, right? And now we play the game. Is this going to remain support, or will this break down? Because if we break down, I'm not really looking for too much of aggressive buys in this region, as I'll show you guys on the the CME chart what I'd be looking for if this range does actually break. But we do have some levels down here that on a wick basis, if reached, I would still be interested in price. We'll talk about that. But for now, looking at this and evaluating, trading this for what it is, right? That's all we're trying to do is trade the chart and trade the, sorry, I'm reading a message on Discord. Always should get those out of the way before we go live, but you know, doesn't always work that way. But yeah, you should trade price here, guys. Don't trade your bias or your opinion in this case. If you're day trading, trading price is going to be the most important thing because, well, that's how you make money in this market. So looking for a range reclaim and then basically a run back up towards some of these, you know, weekly and bi-weekly levels that we've got. So we have a new bi-weekly level at 27,141, just above the, I believe the weekly opens like 27,113, right? So we start turning on our higher time frame or medium time frame, you know, levels that we'd be looking for. You can see that we do have some mean reversions to the upside here that we are not hitting. We did front run them just a little bit by a few hours here, which does happen. So looking at this for now, that, you know, even if this takes a stab lower, where might we go? If we come down, you can see that just beneath the previous week low, which I would put as a pretty important trigger. If this makes the move down again, which as of right now, you know, I'm indifferent on. I am in a small long from this region, not anything crazy. I think it's entry is 26,714. So your previous week low coming in here, and then you do have a 40 tick in POC here. So that is trading view tick size. That's what, you know, the volume profile runs on. So this is what most traders are going to be looking at if they're watching any kind of a session data in terms of like how they're getting points of control, things like that. So 26.2, we've actually bounced this number around a little bit. And it's just beneath the previous week low. So if there is a secondary stab down below here, guys, I want to see this. And unless you get a very clean order flow entry down here, you really want to, you know, long the reclaim and see if you can't take it back up to these levels, right? In the instance that trade doesn't work out, though, you don't get the entry or the trigger to get long. The recipe is not there. I would be a little cautious because 24/7 is likely coming. You could definitely look for the SFP of these lower values here. You could even be way more conservative and wait for, you know, 26.6 and 26.7 to get reclaimed if, you know, you were doubting the move. But realistically, when we're looking at something like that, with the SPX coming into major resistance here at the Q3 high, gold pocket, this is a setup we gave, and I've retweeted it on my Twitter, the old twatter here. If you guys aren't familiar, I've been calling this trade out since, oh man, where was it? We'll find it. There it is. September 28th, 2022. This has been getting called out since, you know, before the bottom was in. So I've been looking for this idea for quite some time. And we are getting it. And you're now at the major target. So you had the B leg right here and the Q1 low, which is a really big level, as you can see. Once you're back above it, we're also above the yearly pivot. We're looking to take this to the quarterly highs, into the prior year, 2022 pivot as well. So this whole zone right here is fairly big resistance. Would love to see one more push actually take out this high right here and see if we get a swing fail. And if we do, it's not going to look great for Bitcoin if this market's coming down pretty aggressively as well. And if we were to take a look at where we might end up, which I think is relevant, you know, looking at the data for this year, you'll notice that the Q1 low, this B leg, the key level we've been talking about since last year, also going to be your major point of control for all major sessions. So we've seen it do this before, but it would really put a lot of emphasis on 41.14 from both a structure standpoint, from the harmonic, and a quarterly low standpoint, and then a major volume level. So if this does come up here and do something like this, you really don't want to lose and give that up, because that would really open the door to probably come all the way back down and fill 39.16. But realistically, I'm probably looking all the way back down to like 38s at that time, you know, but that's only if that scenario plays out. So we'll see what we get out of the SPX, but that doesn't exactly bode well for the old Bitcoin either. Let's get off the bi-weekly. What were we looking at here? I believe it was just the SPX we wanted to, we wanted to see CME. That is correct. Okay, so looking at CME, doing something kind of similar with CME, keeping it really simple here, because, you know, we can all get a lot of different ideas and get ahead of ourselves. You are at support, which is supported by spot as well. This is your 6-month trend on the CME chart. So meaning over the last 6 months, the regression tool that we use with the settings that, I have, this is how it would appear for, futures market, showing you we're at a pretty big inflection point and that there are 2 really big targets. So for me, and one is the gap to the upside and the other is the gap to the downside. Very, very simple. There's not much else to do with this analysis. This stuff down here is actually not even really targets. Those are daily PVA candles. We were working out like how often do these fill, which ones are left unfilled, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you'd be looking at this saying that I'm expecting a move on this probably sometime, late June is what we had said, late June to middle of July. That's why I put the post on my Twitter saying that, in the coming month or 2, probably we would expect one of these gaps to get filled more than likely. It's either going to be upside or downside, right? I mean, TA at its finest, it can go up or down. But if we are breaking down from this level, I suppose is the point I'm trying to make here. If we do make that stab down, don't reclaim. While I know 24/7 is a major, major area on the chart for us, it is our quarterly regression, our quarterly pivot, that weekly swing fail. I really start to open my eyes a little bit more to, 22, I would say 22.2 all the way up to 22.9. But realistically, I'm looking all the way back down in like this 20,600 to 21,000 region. That is going to be the gap fill. Also, if you were just to run like a merged range, I was using ATAS last time. I believe the point of control was like $20,150. So that for me would be the major target. So continuation is name of the game, and Bitcoin really does need to start showing some strength, in my opinion. Otherwise, we could be playing, how low can you go, right? That's what we would be playing, I guess. But I think the targets are fairly obvious at this point. So if this consolidation, falling triangle, whatever people are calling it, I know the falling wedge meme is out there. If it plays out, that's great. We're doing what we're supposed to do here at support. If we're looking for new positions, I'm not looking for shorts down here. I am looking for opportunities to get good risk management and risk on positions to the upside, as that's where most of the reward is. So, while we talk about these doomsday targets, we've also got upside targets as well. And getting into long positions where it makes sense is going to be the play right here, guys. So looking for long still, because this is a range, but I do think that we are running out of room eventually here. So the last thing I wanted to look at was the DXY, and then we look at KDA here being an absolute hot dog water project. Still looking for my box. We'll see if I get it. That way I can collect my online clout that pays my mortgage, right? There's that. What were we looking for here? Oh, we're on the wrong chart. That's right. DXY is over here now. There we go. So DXY, these are the levels we actually left off with on the DXY last time that we were live, just so you guys know. These are the exact same levels. So we were looking at the April high, which got you a very clean back test right here after running into the 2016 and 17 highs. And then we'd outline 2 major levels right here, okay? So on the daily and the monthly, I believe, actually. Yeah, your monthly. So you had essentially gotten some resistance once above here. You knew you were going to have resistance between 104,637 and 105,042. About a third to a fourth percentage point here on the DXY, knowing that this would be resistance, coming back into the all-important 2016 and 17 highs. You do need to see that holding as support. If price begins to reverse from here, where might we be looking for? That's a great question. Depends on how low time frame you want to go with this, right? If you're starting to look at this as this was my last, major low right here, you could say that this would be your gold pocket pull. Me personally, I'm not trading it because it's already been tapped, but it does come in quite nicely around the lows here. You can see it's where you start settling up on the daily. So if price starts losing this little local structure, well, a retest of the April high is coming. But then the question becomes, if that's lost, do we just not come all the way down into this region right here and start retesting that 102.21 support, which this is really, really key support, as you guys have been made aware, because historically speaking, you can see that we spent an awful lot amount of time down here in this region, and we're now trying to kind of confirm it as support. But realistically, as long as you are living above the 2017 high at 103.82 and that 2016 high at 103.65, it's hard to be too bearish on this. And I would still be looking for that push into 105 and then eventually 105.788 over time for the DXY. And the reason we bring that up and why is it important? Well, if Bitcoin is losing support and the SPX is coming into a major, yearly target, right, and finding resistance, we shouldn't just assume that it's going to get rejected, but it's a very tradable level. The DXY holds support and Bitcoin is losing support. We don't correlation trade here much, but at the same time, you really can't ignore those factors, right? That would realistically be what we're on about. So let's get back into the low time frames. This local range, you could trade if you wanted to, you don't have to. Me personally, I'm realistically just looking at this for the pivots plays right now. That's all I want is, can I get a weekly pivot tap? If I can, we go from there. And you can see this is also going to be up near your close of your prior week VWAP. So pretty clean, level to level. So if I can get a long back up to that weekly pivot and then maybe stretch that out to the monthly pivot and then just let the rest ride if it's going to rotate the range, I'd be happy to do so, right? And there's your monthly pivot right there. So this would be very, very nice. In terms of overall appearance of the range, right, we've had a range that looks like this from our breakout. You can see we're at support right now. One could probably replace this. I think I saw somebody chatting about it already with the developing quarter range, quarter two. Gets things very, very well. And the reason I bring that up is if we were to compare the two now, there's a little more data on this one. However, very, very identical values. And I like the quarterly more because it lines up with that quarter one high and that key level. Because I do think that is just the overall key level right around 29,182 to 29,237, right? So these are the levels for right now. You're at the range low. So this isn't the time to be looking for shorts. Let's put it that way. Not the best play if you're doing that. And I haven't done a very good job of keeping up with the chat. Good morning, Redman. A lot used to own a dog walking service. And we don't do exactly as predicted here, Edgar, but we do trade. So again, as I've explained to the guys in the group, this is, once we've fallen down below this prior key weekly low right here, something we identified before we even had this section of price, which I was very happy about. You can see the respect there. And now we've got a monthly pivot there. This is by and large your range, and you're just looking to see if you can't take it back up to here. And if so, can I then get the opportunity to run the range, to run the gambit, so to speak? And that's all I'm trying to do is I'm looking at that as the best possible trade right now. And if that's the case, I'm willing to put a little bit of risk on. As long as you know how much risk you're putting on, it shouldn't bother you one bit, as you do have mean reversions to the upside, right? And this 26,659 level or 26,623, or you could put it as 27,657, the Asia and May VWAP close, right? So you've got a lot right here, really emphasizing that this area of the chart to me is just absolutely crucial. Now your quarter two open was the resistance prior to this. And if you were just to pull this like a clean fib, right, you can see that all you had to do is pull your fibs. It's the 0.5, your quarter two open. At the time, it was also going to be, I believe, the regression. Yeah, perfect regression touch. All the things were there. So Max had pinpointed these highs as well with a certain amount of Bitcoin that he was looking to basically take liquidity wise. So it was very good from an open interest standpoint. And yeah, I mean, this has been a pretty clean trading range. I did not get to take this. This happened really quick yesterday. By the time it had gotten underway, I was already away from my trading station, but we knew where it was going. And so now I'm looking to take advantage of the bounce, right? So very, very simple stuff. I don't really have much else. You charge a Bitcoin an hour to walk dogs. I hope you pick up their poop. But it is Monday. I am, I don't have a case of the Mondays by any means, but definitely looking forward to trading this week. See if we can't get something more out of this tiny range that we've got between 26.7 and like 27.2. Not really any earth-shattering news in this update, guys. Outside of, the SPX is coming into a major target. You can see I've got an alert set here if we do make that push, mainly because I want to know if we take this high specifically. And then the DXY, everything's at a key inflection point. Bitcoin's at support, SPX is at resistance, and the DXY is at support. So when you look at these things, can we really correlation trade them? You can if you see what you need to. Like if we see Bitcoin giving up support, not really showing relative strength, then the S&P 500 giving, that move into resistance and showing that people are selling and taking profit there to push the price lower, with the DXY continuing up, then you can really start to make the three and say, okay, high time frame correction may be coming, and maybe that gap fill, magic was circle jerking for weeks is actually going to happen, right? And that would be something you could look for in the end of June, which is still several weeks away, right? So that's how I would look at that. I don't trade SPX. You've asked me that before, or somebody has. I know several of you have actually. I don't, but it is something that when I started doing content again, you guys aren't going to like the way I put this, but when I put content again, the peanut gallery, the smooth brained people really wanted me to do content on it because everyone's correlation trade happy these days. You'll get it in your comments, like you have to look at the DXY, or you have to look at the SPX, or you just look at the ES if you want to trade Bitcoin. Those used to be comments all the time. But in reality, I do it because it was asked of me, and I've now made some pretty bold, I wouldn't say predictions, but pretty bold outlines on moves. And these moves have taken from September till now. So you can do the math on that. That's a solid, 9 months from now. So I might as well collect that clout, right? So would be looking for something like this, though, if we are going to be bottoming out. So sometime in this, this is a really poor window because it's so long, but I'd be looking for something like this for us to bottom out. We did something very, very similar with Bitcoin, if you guys recall, and I was very happy with it. And then so this would be your area for buying between June all the way through like August, like a 2-month period of, if we start showing signs of a bottom here, a major bottom that could be that higher low where we don't see those lower valuations that everyone would be calling for. And, you just come down and you ride the wave back up, right? We did something very, very similar in on Bitcoin at 32K back in January of 2022, right? And you can see it all here. This is where we're looking at something very similar, right? It looked like this. I believe that, yep, that's my guy. And it was here. And so you can see that the low actually came in on the 24th. I think my timing was 26th to February 9th, if I recall. So I was off by 2 days, and I gave myself a pretty big window. But regardless, trading's not about perfection. It's just understanding when the market might start to shift. And I had it at the 26th. So I was looking for something like this. And this would have been, where you were beginning to accumulate, because we went over why this was support and resistance last night, actually, again, in the members update. But you would be looking for something like this, right? You were looking to accumulate down here and then ride it up. And the irony is this came in at a nice fib time and was the perfect short, with the yearly pivot being there. For those that aren't aware, you had a really nice yearly pivot right here. So this was the mean reversion and then the short down. And I ended up holding shorts from this move all the way until not that long ago, actually. Finally closed them off as we were breaking out here. So I was holding shorts from 40K and then some. Good stuff, right? Not that you guys care. So yeah, simple analysis, looking for longs or reasons to be long in this region, and going to take profits locally first, of course. If we were to get super, super low time frame on this, you can see that we have a new daily and weekly range starting right here. And what we'd realistically want to see is that previous day low get reclaimed. If we can reclaim the previous day low, things start to look good. You've got the weekly open here. Your new caveman is there, but let's actually transpose this guy on over to here, right? So you get a good bounce. Previous day low is reclaimed, and well, we've got some things that we can start talking about, right? So would be ideal, I guess, so to speak, if we could do so. And this looks like a previous day low, but it's not. That's not the right day. That would be the next day right there. Yeah, that is how I'd like to trade it. But not much else to talk about, guys. Well, how long have we been live for before we pop out of here? 25 minutes, 20 of you in here. So thank you guys for all being here. Got 18 likes, 20 people in. So I'm very happy about that. Yeah, it could be Redman. I mean, you know, to the flip side of that, I guess I should cover this. To the flip side of, you know, the idea that maybe we get a pullback and we bottom out in like June. This, if it holds a support and we start reclaiming this 27,659 region, it really does make me think we're probably going to rotate all the way back up to that quarter one high around 29,182 and 29,237. Then you can really start looking at this in terms of trend and saying, you know, what is really going on here? Am I pushing out towards, you know, July for a top? You know, that's the question. Main reason being is then if you were to measure, you know, just the overall timing it took us to do what we did in 2022 on that, all that dumpage, you know, would be very, very fitting if, you know, we've got resistance here, obviously, but if you started like pushing out towards like, yeah, middle of July. So I'm still expecting like, you know, between June 27th and July 16th is when I'm looking for the next either, you know, if we get a secondary push, maybe a gap fill, roll over, or I'm looking for an opportunity potentially lower to look for, you know, my next entry, I guess, so to speak. I am still long from 16.6. So if I had to pinpoint that, it would be down here. That trade is still open right here. So these will not be closed unless they are absolutely have to be closed, right? If you guys remember, for those of you that are new, why would you get long here? You had a really nice weekly breaker here, another nice weekly breaker right here. And essentially you were looking for resolution. And what you got was, it's hard to see it on the weekly, but you can see you closed just beneath here. But if you're down to the 1 hour now, 16,611 being that key level, right? And what did you do? You came below the level, gave it up, and then there's your back test. So this was your long, right? You had the bears had their chance because there's really nothing beneath here, right? At this time, if you were looking for shorts, all you're hoping to do is see these lows get lost because these stops have not been run really. You did have the miniature swing fail here. So you were hoping to fill in this area on a quick drop, which was very much so on the table. And at that point, I don't think you stop right here. You probably go lower, but you got the opposite of that. You got the fake out. And for the pattern boys and girls, inverse head and shoulders before breakout, retest, and move up, right? So this was a very low risk long. I was pretty public about it. I think it was, January 3rd went long and said, I'm not closing it. I have no intentions of closing it. And I have taken profits, obviously, because I'm not, you know, not a derelict. I know that you have to pay yourself in this market, but there is still a chunk of it still open. So, but the levels were respected the whole way up. Major targets were finally hit at 26.7. And then, you know, looking to see if this is going to hold on to 26.7, which was the target all the way back in December, basically. See if it's going to hang on to this region of the chart. And if so, can we take it higher? You know, can I take it higher? So that is the question. Can we get this long to 27.6? And then what do we do from there? Because I think this is your next major tradable region, is this area of the chart. It also puts you above this local high here. And, you know, you get to trade it all over again. But in the words of Max, there's a lot of traders up here that got involved in the market, a lot of open interest information as well, along with just monthly pivot, key, you know, horizontal resistance, VWAP closes. There's an NPOC there. there's a lot here to say that, I'm interested in trading this region of the chart if reached, but still it's not a trade that you have to take, because, it doesn't matter how much confluence you have here. You could easily just blow through this region of the chart, right? So just keep that in mind. And once we're through this area, I really do look at this as at least trying to make a new high here, but probably coming up to 29.1 and 29.2, and then maybe even hitting like 30,000 again. So that would be the play, so that's the idea, and the idea behind this long, right, is if I can get this long, why wouldn't I take it? So time is fire. I don't know if I've ever seen you. I probably have. It's been a while, but I appreciate you guys being in here. I'm going to jet. It's been a little bit. We do these on Mondays. We are talking about doing another one during the week as well. So we'll see what we can work out timing wise between myself and Max. But thank you guys for popping on, letting me talk about the trades that I'm in and took, and the ideas that I have currently. And the only thing I will say is, again, if we start losing this support, short of a swing fail of the previous week low. So just to recap, previous week low down here at 26.4, but you have a 40 tick NPOC. I believe Binance shows it naked as well, which is becoming very quickly the exchange that we prefer in terms of order flow data. 26.222 is what I have. I think somebody else has one at like 26.250. So, down here in this 26.2 to 300 region, you just want to see if that move occurs at all. You want to see this, right? So that would stop me out of my current position around 26.7, and then put me down looking for the opportunities below the previous week low. It may not even reach this level, but all I'd want to see is if that happens and I get stopped out, I just want to see the previous week low taken and then reclaimed, and then I want to look for strength on the long, whether that's buying imbalances, whatever it may be. But for now, hedged long from this region of the chart, just to see if we can't, rummage up some profits on a Monday morning, right? Start the week off strong with a good trade. So YouTube never sends you an alert. If you send me your phone number, Alado used to run a dog walking service, but he also runs a text message service back in the day. He's done a lot of things in his very long, illustrious career and life. So he actually will individually text all of you to let you know when I'm live. Or if you get into the Discord, there is a free portion of it. You don't have to pay for anything. I do actually put at everyone on every single live that I do for the public. So anytime that we put out a video that's for consumption, whether it's for members, they get alerted, or if it's for everyone gets alerted. So the Discord's a good way as well to get notifications. I promise we don't spam you with bullshit. Yeah, I know. You were doing that back in the day when T9 was still a thing. I don't know if you remember T9 when you were texting, but that would be really, really kind of annoying. But it beats having to do the old landline and call everybody. So if you guys don't know, Alado has lived many lives, and he's kind of a legend. But all right, guys, I'll catch you in the group if you're in there. If you're not, I do need to make a video on XRP and things like that. So we've promised that we're going to put out public content every day, which I know we've really kind of sucked at. I'm not good at static content in the sense that I don't I don't enjoy content as much as you guys might think. Some of these other guys, because like they're doing it to make you guys a product. We're not really doing that. So I figure if people are interested, they'll seek our services out. There's links down below. People aren't that dumb. Look at that big old rejection right there. Real nice. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Let's see if we can't take a low here and get a trade, right? Cheers.